you're warned. Da-da-da-da. Well, we'll let people join. But I kind of want to jump into Maggie's content, because when people come on, then we can maybe get into what everyone's doing and questions and all that. But really just wanted Maggie, she's been such a leader, and I always tell her this, but I can never reemphasize it enough in terms of just an influence. When I first met her, she was super into fitness, as was I, and so kind of bounced off on that energy on each other. And she was I forget what word they use for it, but just where you're scared to ask the person to get involved because you look up to them or you really think that they're awesome. And so I was very nervous to bring it up to her in the case that she'd think it's stupid and then I'd have to be insecure about it or what have you. But she'll tell her story, but that's kind of those were my fears associated with it, but I'm really glad I did, because she's clearly doing really well with it, and we've gotten closer because of it. So I kind of wanted her to start off with just her story of how she got into it, what got her started, and maybe why you stuck with it, if you want to start off with it.
Okay. Yeah, so Maria asked me, it was like 4 years ago, about coaching, and kind of introduced me to Shakeology in general. And I'd heard of it, and I'd seen her post about it and stuff before, but I'd never really done my research or like looked into it. So I decided, I was like, why not? So I did, and I did like my own little, not in a challenge group, just my own personal 30-day kind of tracked how I felt, and took like my body fat before and my weight and all that. And I actually like had really good positive results just from that one change that I'd made. So I was kind of like, okay, yeah, I'm game. And really from there, it's kind of been up and down. When I joined as a coach, it was like 5 months or so before I moved to Baltimore. And so I was like, oh, this would be perfect. Like, because it's another way to help people than doing just classes and training and stuff. And when I moved here, it was a lot harder than I thought it would be to like kind of build. And really since then, I've been very up and down in coaching until about a year and a half ago, when I had some changes in my career path, which are hindsight 2020. I mean, fabulous changes.
Uh-oh. Tell Marshall on mute.
Is she hear us?
Sarah.
Hi.
Hi. Just so you know, we can hear, I don't know if there's like some background noise, but just FYI. I don't even know if you know how to mute on the phone, but just FYI.
I'll figure it out.
Okay. In the meantime, be quiet. I'm just kidding, but sort of. Okay, go ahead, Maggie.
Anyways, I had some changes, and that's when I was like, okay, I am just going to go all in, because I had been back and forth. I had ran challenge groups, but it'd be like every other month or something like that. And so once I decided that I really wanted to kind of dive in fully is when like Success Club was more regular, and just kind of overall I felt more like immersed into coaching and into like the opportunity itself. What else did you want me to expand upon on that?
Well, I know personally that you evaluated it. Like Maggie kind of jumped in and checked it out and used it kind of what I realized was like a case study. She's like, okay, I'll try it out. And she had a blog already and a site, so she was assessing it. And what helped you stick with it?
Oh yeah, that part. Just believing in, I mean, I was a Turbo Kick instructor, which you know, and I hadn't really done much else with Beachbody programs, but I think being introduced to another product of Beachbody's that I was like, wow, like I'm a believer. And then I just kind of had it in my mind. I do remember at the beginning of coaching, I was like, okay, if I can, in a year's time, at least be having my own Shakeology covered and like my expenses not. So I'm like thinking like a year out, like have my Shakeology covered, which is so silly. But like I remember, making that my goal. Like as long as I'm not like a cost to me in a year, then I feel like being a coach is a good thing. But yeah, I just kind of believed in the product, and I was like, this is something I can continue to help people with. Like there's no reason not to be a part of it, I guess. It was just kind of a no-brainer once I had learned about it and learned what the opportunity could do and what it could do for myself and for people that I was around and could help with, whether it be the business or just with the products and stuff that Beachbody has in general.
Awesome. That kind of segues. I wanted her to talk about her main goals with coaching, but I think a lot of us find out as we go, like the new coaches, you're just starting out and you are just using it for, health and fitness, and you don't know where it's going to go. And Maggie and I have both very much examined, because we studied fitness, health, and exercise. Like, we very much have assessed and both of we've experimented a lot with what route to go. And Maggie, if you could expand upon like your experimentation with instructing and being a personal trainer and owning a club, and then why you're with Beachbody and focusing on that.
Okay. Yeah. So, like Maria said, I've always been in the fitness industry. I started in corporate fitness and then took a break from it and decided to try like the medical path. And I was there for about a year. But about 6 months into that, I was like, I need to be in fitness. Like, I just had to be somehow immersed in it. So I started teaching classes again and doing some personal training and boot camps and stuff like that. And then when I moved here is kind of when I was like, it's my chance to like just be full-time fitness again. And part of that was integrating Beachbody. But when I got a job here, I went actually all full-time with personal training and group fitness, which I've definitely learned is not the path that I like thrive in the best. It's like really draining, whether it be like back-to-back classes or training people or whatnot. It was just a really draining place for me. And I never felt like I was actually like really helping people change necessarily, aside from the people that join me for like challenge groups and stuff additionally, because, they're seeing me maybe once or twice a week, and not to discount the value of a personal trainer because you can learn a lot. But like, even now I have people that I train that I'm like, honestly, like, you're going to get more out of my challenge group than you're paying me hourly to train you, because it's more consistent. There's more regular, like accountability. There's more consistent motivation, all of that it's just so much more of a package than, just going to training or going to classes when you have it scheduled or feel like it. So yeah, I did that full time. And then, like Maria said, I opened a studio with, old friend, not a friend anymore, but I opened a studio and I was like the only instructor and I was the only trainer. And it was like 60, 70 hours a week of just like running the entire show. And that was, again, like a huge drain. And when we ended up splitting ways, that was like, I feel like my opportunity to like really be like, this is something that I've had on my back burner. It's been in the foreburner. It's been the mid burner. It's kind of like been all over, but it was like my real honest chance to like, just kind of do what I had stuck with because I knew it was a good thing. I just hadn't been able to consistently like stay focused on it, which again, I could have. It was harder than I was willing to put in for some of that time. So, where was I going with that? I was giving you background.
You're hitting it all. It's okay. Really, I think it's a good example. I've talked about this, just the energy that you appropriate. It's going to, no matter what, even if it gets you in front of more people or whatever. And I have to remember that as an instructor, and that could be coaching. That could be your day job. That could be going to school. It's all for a reason. It all leads towards you achieving things on your bucket list or on your goal list. But when you figure out more and more kind of your vision of your life, your goals of having family, staying at home, having flexibility, having financial freedom, being paid to work out and not beat your body up, which as a trainer you think would be the case, but it can be the opposite. It's figuring out that, and that's just something that I think Maggie, I'm so glad she was an example, because I learned a lot from Julie, my coach, and then having coaches who went that route of how can I make fitness a full-time job, and then just kind of running themselves ragged. So it's a great testament for why this is so useful and worth building. So with that, I know she just definitely got some Success Club tips, because she's hit it 15 months in a row, and not just like, just barely SC5 or barely, SC whatever, SC5, but she's definitely had months where it's like SC20, SC11, SC14 consistently. So I want her to definitely go over her tips there. But I think even what's most important is, why is that even a thing for you? So maybe start with why that's a goal.
I don't know exactly when it started for being goal, but I think just the more that I've been at like events and like learned about Success Club, I think it started as like a fun thing, like with like the prizes and all that stuff. And it's like, oh yeah, I get a prize and I'm helping more people and making more money or whatever. And it's like kind of that fun, like I'm a little bit naturally competitive anyway. So like if I can push myself to do something that is a challenge, I'm like up for it usually. So I think just, and then once I started hitting it some, it was kind of like, oh my God, if I don't hit it, I'm failing myself. And, so really that's why it's been a non-negotiable. And then just the more that I've gone to live events and like listened to calls and stuff, it's reiterated the importance of hitting Success Club if you want to build your business and help more people. So it's just kind of, been kind of something that I've forced myself to do, I guess.
Great.
Yeah.
And I think you guys all know this, but it is something that you go the extra mile for that little competitive edge, or because you know it's a goal, or because you know me or your coach or your teammate or your accountability buddy is like depending on you to do it. But we pressure you on that a little bit just because of what you get out of it. You meet that next challenger that changes your life. You meet that next coach who becomes the coach that really buddies up with you and grows your team with you. Because if you're not always increasing those numbers, it's, you get stuck and you get a little bit more blah. And I think we've all felt that. So just to expand upon that, but what would your tips, I guess, I know there's probably a lot that goes into it, but what are your main ways that you get to Success Club?
Well, I was trying to think that through because it was very odd to me that Maria wanted to ask me for like any sort of tips or whatever, but it is a fact that I've hit it. So I guess I could have some valuable like stuff to offer. So I was trying to like rack my brain as to what I like really do. And I thought of like 4 specific things that I guess I've like been doing or that like I've really helped. So the first thing is I really do keep an Excel sheet of everything. And my Excel sheet is color coded and it's not always kept up to date, but I try my best. So like when I do my power hour, I have it open and I actually like write in, like every time I message somebody, I write it in under like, whether it's a conversation column or invites. And I have an invite column for coaches and an invite column for challengers. And then I have a column for new friends who have actually accepted my request or I accepted theirs. Like it's actually friends, not just friend requests. And then a column for follow-ups that are like just follow-ups. So I try to keep that updated and like I have little notes next to it that's like when the last time I actually emailed them or whatever. And I try to color code it if they're somebody who I've never actually been able to work with in a Beachbody setting, or if it's follow-up, they're color coded differently, or if it's somebody that I need to follow up with because they keep saying yes, but they haven't. And once they become a challenger, they become a different color. So I try to keep that updated because it helps my brain function a little more strategically and in an organized fashion. So that Excel sheet has been kind of like a big helping hand for me. And I think it keeps me honest to like also how many people I'm actually reaching out to and connecting with, and then following up with people in a good, consistent amount of time. And I have them, I pretty much do like by month. So like it would be like April would be one tab, and then I change to a different one for a different tab. And so that's kind of the first thing, is staying up on something like that, like some kind of organizational tool to kind of keep in touch with people and keep reminding myself of people that I've talked to. Because you know how it is when you're like messaging 5 people a day. If it's 5 people a day, that's how many people a month? Like you can't keep track of all that in your brain.
Right.
So,
perfect. That's good.
Yeah. The second thing I think is just like honestly hosting challenge groups every single month. And like if you're hosting challenge groups and you're inviting and talking to people regularly, like there's gonna be a couple new people who are going to come out of those tons of messages that you're putting out there. It just is. And I think that is coupled with my third thing, which is really posting consistently. And that, again, it's like, the 3 vital behaviors basically, but like building that momentum with posting and posting well-rounded things and like about your life, about like fitness, about, the program you're doing fitness-wise, the Shakeology, your healthy meal, like anything that you can kind of think of. And I really have tried to make it a minimum of 3 times a day for me to post. And I try to do my first one like right around 7 a.m. My middle one is sometime in the middle of the day. That kind of varies. And then my last one, again, sometime like between 7 and 9. And if there's anything extra in there, I do. But I've really tried to be consistent with just being in front of people. I don't know that, I think I could be a lot better with them, but I think the 3 times like minimum definitely helps. What was the last thing? Oh, the last thing that has really helped, at least in recent months, is that 7-day sampler pack. I know like when I hit Success Club 23, that was like, or 2 months ago or last month or whatever that was legit like a lot of challenge packs that came from people trying the 7-day sampler pack, because I did the 7-day challenge, like a 7-day taste test, one of those. And those I think are better than, not better, I shouldn't say better, but I think it's sometimes more efficient and more, what's the word I'm looking for? I'm going to say better just because.
Yeah.
From like going from the free 5-day, which I love, and I love doing those, but getting people to come in who are going to commit to $35,
Mm-hmm.
there's a much higher chance that they may actually come to a challenge group. And my conversion has been so much higher when they do the 7-day sampler pack than doing the free 5-day. I think it's like, the conversion has been kind of crazy as far as who actually will continue on with you versus just wanting something for free.
Right.
That's
good.
Yeah. That's kind of all that I really wanted to say. You can ask me more questions to expand.
Yeah, no, I think that's good. I think the Excel, that's huge. I know I'm leaving opportunity on the table for as many years as I've been doing this, especially whether you want to like rocket launch in the first year, or you know that you're going to be doing this 5 years from now at a pace that you feel really good about. There's just so many conversations you're going to have. Mine's really unorganized version of that, but I love, at work, I have an Excel document. So Maggie's treating it like a job, which is perfect. And that's what they talk about. I would say that seeing your posts, I think I've definitely noticed them be consistent. And Maggie, if you're not friends with her, add her or follow her, because she's got bright colors. She always looks really like energetic. She's painting that picture of here's how it works. Here's what I do. And I never really looked at it this way before, but when I heard a coach talk about how she kind of paints her Facebook or her Snapchat or Instagram, it's kind of like a little reality version. People want to watch your life, and you're selling them based on, your results and just your life. And like Maggie talked about, so it's just see the examples that she's doing, and Maggie covers totally different things than me, but you can kind of see the themes. This is what you do to be healthy and happy, and it's really not that complicated. But yeah, I would say I know for sure that Joy has experimented with the newsletter, and that's something that you and I think we kind of just assume that people know to do that, but maybe expand upon your newsletter and your blog a little bit.
Oh yeah. Okay. So I do send a newsletter almost weekly, sometimes not weekly, but I try to keep that like also well-rounded, like with my posts. And sometimes I'd make it more like a motivational, inspirational, just like insight. I enjoy writing. So sometimes that's something that like I link to my blog as just like something motivational, or just that's like kind of on my mind and my heart. And then sometimes it is like an advertisement or an invite to participate in my next challenge group, or like the 7-day taste test or something like that. So I try to do those weekly. I'll be honest, I don't get very many responses. So I don't know like if those people, I do get some, but usually a reply from that email it doesn't happen very often. So I have a hard time figuring out if people just are watching me elsewhere or whatever, because some of those people will randomly reach out to me like later or whatever. But I do like using it. And I think it's a really good way to get people to go to my site, which I like having a website separately than just my Facebook page, just for kind of like standing information, and for doing like those longer, like when I want to share something on Facebook that's going to be like a real long-winded written piece, then I'll end up writing a blog and then sharing the link, but kind of like introduce it there. But yeah, I try to stay consistent on those two. Those, I go up and down a little bit with like actually posting a blog and not very good at being like weekly or anything like that.
I think it's helpful. Same results. And I used to blog all the time, and it was a great way to build value and all that. And I think that but I think we always have to assess too, in 2016, are people reading long blogs and just constantly studying your demographic? Because Aisha, your average age might have no desire to read anything longer than a paragraph. And our generation, right? I mean, it's just so funny to think about. And that's what I keep talking about, Gary Vaynerchuk, like just think ahead of time, think about your demographic. But there's plenty of people that need that information when they're sitting at home at 10 o'clock at night and just had a Sunday and they're like, what's Maggie do? Let me find her information because she's so fit. It's just there. I know I've like creeped on people's websites and Instagrams and all that just because I'm wanting to know what information they have out there for free. So you do a really good job with that. But I will say the newsletter is something that if you explore, and I think I just like messed around with it until I realized how to do it. And we can always do tutorials too another time. I know Joy spent time to study it, but it's a great way to tell stories and really get in their hearts. Because everything on social media is so like, blah, this is for the world. But if you can put it into an email, people feel more available for you to, you're just saying, hey, reach out to me. And it feels almost a little bit more sincere than like a broadcast. And if you can write specific, I know I've read a lot where if you can write to them, to an individual, that's when you can really get some results. So if you like writing, that's a great thing. But you can do it with video. You can do it with a million things. Cool. Well, let me see. What else do we want to cover? I have my questions here. When you are doing your power hour, what things do you hit?
Well, I've really liked that template the last week or so that Erin shared. It was Erin that shared that in there, right? In their group?
Maybe. I know she's got one. She did something, and then I posted one from somebody, Jessica Bola or something. Jessica, I forget her name, but she's a successful coach. Anyway, go ahead.
No, mine, I haven't really, I can't say I've been super consistent with what exactly I do, because I feel like every day, like I sit down with a specific goal in mind, and it's not always like the 10 minutes of do this and 10 minutes of do this, because quite frankly, like today I was sitting down to do my power hour and I'm like, okay, I start a challenge group on Monday. So like the deadline's done and I don't have another 7-day challenge for a little bit. And I just did my coach sneak peek. So it's like, I don't really have something like immediate that I'm like, I need to invite. So right now, like today, instead of doing like the invites, and adding those to my Excel docs, I have like nothing in my invite column. It's just like starting conversations. So every day is a little bit different, just depending on what I have coming and what kind of goals I kind of have for that day. But I always make sure to reach out to like a minimum of 5 to 10 people in some way, whether that means like starting conversation, continuing conversation, or reaching out like cold altogether, or following up from a long time ago, or an invite or whatever.
Yeah. I mean, it sounds like you have a cycle. Like,
yeah,
there's a cycle of reaching out to people, connecting, adding, inviting. Then there's a cycle of, hey, I've got a challenge group, or I've got a 7-day shakeout. Like we've talked about this before, but there's funnels. Like, because Maggie takes such good notes of where they fall, and correct me if I'm wrong, you have people that you've introduced yourself to, then you have people in mind for the 7-day sampler, then you have people in mind for the challenge group, then you have people in mind for coaching. And they should be able to feed each other. And then you might have random ones like crisscrossing or whatever. But in terms of feeling comfortable just like messaging people, and what do you say? What helps you?
Oh, that's such a tough one. It's one of those that varies. I could pull up one and like read it maybe, because if you want me to.
Yeah.
Because I think every situation is totally different. And well, maybe I can't pull one up because it'll take me too long to filter through all this stuff. But I don't know. I think like if it's somebody that I just like haven't seen in a while, or that I've never met, and it really is truly like a first time that I've messaged them, or messaged them in a really long time, I am definitely not comfortable, or nor do I feel genuine if it's like, hey, like I do this, can you like, sort of not even I do this, but like mentioning anything about Beachbody or fitness or anything in that initial message, I'm like very shy to do.
Mm-hmm.
What was your question again? I'm so ADD.
I think so, like buying. So for me, so it'd be like a buying signal. So if they liked a challenge group post, we definitely reach out to them.
Yes.
But it just sounds like if they're new, you message them and explain you're introducing yourself. And if it's literally they like, do you ever like, hey, I thought of you for this challenge group? Like, what leads to a challenge group invite for you?
Depending on the situation, definitely if somebody has been like, says anything regarding a need for fitness support, nutrition, they want to lose weight, they just had a baby, like they have been feeling like tired, like whatever, there's always that invite. Or like, I guess with classes for me, if people can't come to classes, that's sort of like you don't have to be time committed to like a certain time. You can like do this whenever you want. But I think, yeah, depending on like the funneling, sorry, I'm trying to like gather my thoughts.
You're okay.
I'm so not good at answering this type of question because my brain is like, there's all these answers and I don't know what to bring out.
I prepped her a little bit, barely. Now I'm just like,
should I answer a question like to this one? I don't think I answered this question.
Which one?
The one you just asked me.
I said, just how do you lead into a challenge group invite? But it sounds like to me what I'm hearing is that you are always, so here's the truth is what you do well and what I think a lot of us do well or are getting better at is you basically make it very clear that you're a resource. And so a lot of people know Maggie's a resource because of her posts, because of teaching classes, because of the way she's put herself out there. And Zach, I know we've talked about it. Zach's a is it volunteer firefighter or like firefighter? Sorry.
Firefighter.
There's no such thing as fakes, okay?
I'm just how much time you put into it. I mean, it doesn't matter, I guess.
Yeah. No, I'm only kidding. No, I would say volunteer, but
okay, you're a firefighter. Sorry.
Yeah. I get paid. I get paid. I'm a Massachusetts State Wildland firefighter also, which that's a paid job for me as well too. Which we're going to be getting deployed this week to Canada.
Yeah. So prayers and thoughts back, and he's super cool. And I was just asking him because he meets all these firefighters everywhere, which is super cool. But how they connect to each other, and if you just think about the networks that you have and putting yourself in a position where you just have to always think, how can I put myself in a position where they can come to me when they're ready? And I think social media is perfect for that because you're not walking around like, hey, I'm just going to assume that you need help, so let me shake your hand and help you out. Like, it's not like that. It's just that I think we all look at our social media as a resume, or as, like Maggie said with her site, like standing information. So if you make it clear that's what you do with everything that you put out there, then when people have a conversation with you, then these signals of them mentioning they need to lose weight, or they can't come to class, or they wish they had abs like so-and-so or whatever, you pick up on those conversations. And you can only pick it up if you have conversations. So initiating conversation will create a need. And it sounds like Maggie's constantly having just conversations to find out if people even want help. And then it's clear that she would help. And so those conversations naturally happen. So it's never like you're just unnaturally messaging somebody and feeling awkward about it. It sounds like these conversations happen naturally.
That was very well said. I couldn't have said it better.
I'm listening to you and regurgitating, so
yes,
don't
worry about it. Exactly my thoughts, but very well said.
Yeah. So that's just something you have to think for yourself on how you can do that. And you all have networks, and it's just, I think I've just realized it can be hard to message people. It can be hard to reach out, but that's what's going to create the natural conversation. And it does have to start out natural. And that's what was going to lend. I think the question I did prep you on was, what would you tell a new coach or yourself just starting out? Now that you know what you know, what would your advice be?
Well, I was like thinking about that. I was like, that's hard. But I really think like the biggest and most important, especially for a brand new coach, is that like you are excited because you've decided to take a really cool turn with your life or pick up something that you really believe in, and it's really exciting, and you want to like tell everybody. So you want to put that like I'm a coach post out there, which I did, and I would have to scroll way back in my Facebook timeline, but I can promise you it was probably the cheesiest, most like ridiculous thing ever, probably. And then like I think about initially when I was a coach, just like my posts were a lot more like just everything was less genuine, I think. And I really think that when you're a new coach, like you're so focused on I'm a Beachbody coach, and we can't focus on that. We have to focus on like what we are doing for ourselves and how we're helping others, and focus on that as like content that we're going to share, and just like keeping that in the forefront of our minds as we're posting or sharing or even talking to people about it. Because I think the worst thing that you can do as a brand new coach is to just like, I'm Beachbody, this and that and the other, because Beachbody doesn't define us. It's just something that we can really, really use over and over and over again with people, because there's so many different outlets and programs and ways to help others that, and I'm sure maybe everybody in here, maybe everybody didn't like do something like that, and that's fine. Like it's just a way to grow. But I think that that'd be probably the first thing I would say to a new coach, is to just keep in your mind to be genuine in what you're doing and what you're there for, and that Beachbody isn't defining you as like some grand new thing you're doing. You're just there to help people in a different way than you were before, because you've had success or you believe in the success you're going to have, and it just kind of all starts with that, versus trying to be pushy or salesy and look like some of those other companies that we don't want to look like.
Such good. I think it's clear as somebody who's watched you, grow, we've grown together, the more honest and vulnerable and real you share your struggles, your emotions, your tragedies, because everyone's got different versions. Some people might not ever be able to lose all the weight they ever want to, but still feel like they want to help people. And some people might not have a huge weight loss story, but they still have progress. And you do a great job sharing your journey and calling that out. Like, this is what I'm not, but this is what I have to offer. And so again, if you guys need to follow anybody, definitely see her posts, and she does a great job with that. Let's see. And then one other thing is I didn't prep you for this, but you're super motivated, and you clearly Success Club, 15 months in a row. What helps you stay motivated and positive and pumped up about all this?
What has made me so positive and pumped up about it?
Yeah, like really just a personal development question. What keeps you?
Yes. I'm not a great reader, so I definitely do better with like videos and stuff. I take a book and it literally takes me like 6 months to get through it if I'm like just straight reading. But I do read, and I'm reading from Girl Boss and that I Am That Girl book right now. Those are both kind of like going back and forth. Have you seen that one?
I Am That Girl?
I Am That Girl, and it's like an excerpt of it's in my bedroom. If you Google I Am That Girl, you'll find it. But it's really cool. This girl is just like, I actually think what I love about it, and sorry, Zach, that you're the girl. But it's the same idea. Like girls I like reading this kind of stuff for like my own personal like feel good and like empowerment. But girls were raised, and I don't know about guys, but we are raised somehow to sort of compete with each other. And I don't know if that starts with like us in our minds or what we're taught or whatever, but it's so much a book about like empowering each other and to be like each other's like just like cheerleaders from like a very genuine standpoint. And that if we really like bind together and like believe in each other is kind of the idea behind it, that we can like all rise up. So I like reading. I like that book. It's been fantastic. I'm just going through it very slowly. Everything else, I think that those are the two that I've been like diving into right now. As far as videos, I haven't been consistently watching one specific like person, but I'm going to get into the Gary stuff because I really like what you've said about him. That's what I'm doing right now.
Nice.
Yeah, I'll stop there because I could just ramble, I guess.
But it seems like you're always doing something, and you're
Yes.
channeling that energy positively. Well,
Yeah.
cool.
And the training, like all the training videos that are out there. I mean, I think we have to be strategic with what we choose to watch because it can get very overwhelming, and then we're just like absorbing information and not applying it. But like right now, I'm in that Diamond Mastery group or whatever, and I think Sarah and Joy are both in that too. Or I don't know. I feel like me. I mean, that's personal development, like the training. Yeah. So yeah, I've been doing a lot of those too.
Yeah, perfect. And then I'll definitely open up the floor because I'm sure you want more questions. But yeah,
I'm good at answering them.
you are. Trying to think of what else I wanted to cover, but I'm gonna open it up. I'm gonna see what you guys want to. If you guys have specific questions like how tos or. Looks like Joy's got one.
I have a question. Thanks so much for explaining everything. It's so nice to hear from you. And I know I'm one of those people that I have to hear something. How many times is it? Like 7 times before it actually makes sense. And then I'm like, oh, a light bulb turned on and like, I should really do this. So I'm not really organized with the people I reach out to. And I've often maybe tried to do it for a couple of days, and then I kind of stop, and I'm like, oh, I'll just look at my Facebook messages and see who I talked to. And I'm just starting to realize as I kind of progress in the business, that's just not working. And I guess I just wanted to know, how long was it until you started your Excel document, and down to the sort of specific details of, so you do it monthly pages, and then do you alphabetize the people you message by last name, and then you just have columns down? Do you put I was thinking, do you put on marks of how many times you talk to them, and what are the markings? And I don't know, am I going too detail oriented with that?
You are making me feel like, oh my God, I could do this to my Excel spreadsheet.
Nerd alert, all the nerds.
It's not good enough. No. So when did I start doing this? This Excel spreadsheet, actually, I only started this past December. So I guess that must be accurate. Before then, I was just pen and paper apparently, but it feels like I've been doing it a lot longer than that. Before that, I had a notebook where I literally wrote down just names, and I had a really hard time with that. So I guess this past December is when I decided to start doing Excel. But so what I can just kind of tell you what it is, and I can share. I think, have I shared this before, Maria, or not? I feel like I have.
Always upload the file like a template for
I don't know if I have before, or if I did in my team or something, but basically, Joy, what I have is all the different tabs at the bottom, and they're each for a month. And I have them by at the top, it's reach out to 5 people per day. And then how I got in touch with them, whether it was email, and then what their response was, or follow-up notes or something. So I have 3 kind of columns that are all about messaging people. And that's kind of what I consider my the conversations that aren't necessarily about anything Beachbody. It may have been in the past if it's somebody that I've talked to, if it's somebody I haven't talked to in months. I'm not just going to be oh, hey, do you want to join this challenge group? Unless it was something where, it was a more natural question at that point. But I have that at the top, and then I have my goal actually is 10 challenge group invites per day, and then again a column for notes and a column that's my last follow-up. So I have it dated, and I just try to change the colors, but that's where I'm putting the name of people I'm actually inviting to a challenge group. And then I have adding 3 to 5 new contacts, and then I put in parentheses accepted friend requests, so people that have actually become my friends.
So kind of cold friend requests, you don't have you haven't met them prior.
No.
Right, okay.
On occasion, I'll come across somebody oh, I knew them, back in whatever. But
okay.
No, it's pretty much. I try to, when I go through and look for friends, I try to look at our mutual friend. And if I have any Beachbody coach in mutual whatever, I just like ignore that person because I have no idea what their relationship is and I don't want to be somebody to step on toes. So if I see a Beachbody coach in common, then I won't friend them. If they friend me, then I'm like, oh, I have to accept them. And then I learn they're on Team Lettuce and I'm like, oh, sweet, that's fine, but I don't want. And then I'm like, yeah, I get annoyed of that sometimes, but then I'm like, no, it's helpful too, because then I have another friend who I have in common that then I'm like, okay, I probably shouldn't message somebody that I have in common with them. So it's helpful.
Okay.
Did that answer your question?
Yeah. Thank
Okay.
you.
Yeah, I usually just go to like the find friends thing. I've tried some of the other strategies like the search bar at the top, like people, blah, 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 who are interested in this. And I haven't had a whole lot of success with that. I don't know. Have you, Maria, or anybody else?
Yeah. I mean, it wasn't like a ton, but I found some gems that weren't being pointed to me. There was like people under 40 who like Lululemon. And
I do that.
I did that
Mine's
one.
weird.
Yours wasn't as good. I did Nike, but then I used to get really annoyed when I got put in groups, and then now I'm like, oh, let's go check everybody out, like for at least while I'm in here, and then I'm gonna leave. But
Yeah.
and if you're new and you haven't done this yet, or if you're watching and you're like, what are they talking about? We basically it's like drunk texting and drunk, going out to the bars. You just meet people online and.
Yeah.
It works, especially if you have something valuable to offer. If your Facebook or if your Snapchat, if your Instagram is full of like fun, if you believe in yourself, and that's where personal development comes in, you're like, hey, if they follow me and they become my friend, then I got something to offer and hopefully I'll learn from them. And that's another thing with Gary Vaynerchuk. I would highly recommend checking him out because he really harps on always lead with contributing something to somebody. And even if, and Maggie was talking about it, even if it's not Beachbody, if it's a recipe for a cold, whatever, a natural cold remedy or whatever, like just always offer somebody, there's always something you can help somebody with. And that happens via conversation. So you do a good job with that.
Yeah.
Any other questions? I'm sure you guys have some. Come on, Val.
I didn't answer all of Joy's. Just Joy, continue with it.
Oh, yeah. Sorry.
I wrote one down. It has to do with your Excel sheet because I'm having trouble. I'm to the point now. I'm going on my 6th month of SC 5 or above, and I'm starting to, really build this big customer base, but I'm having a hard time with my organization. Miranda and I are success partners, and we have this great calendar system down, and we're trying to figure out, like, do you have any apps or anything that you would recommend as far as keeping things organized, or do you go straight to your Excel, or like something that is more mobile than sitting down at my desktop? Because to be perfectly honest, with my crazy busy life, this is about as long as I can sit down.
Yeah, I get it. As far as like keeping my like contacts and stuff in order, that's what I was used to use, just my notebook, but it wasn't organized enough for me. And because I do sit down at my desk for my power hour, that's why like I keep my Excel document updated when I'm doing that. But I, by all means, do work from my phone a lot and message people and stuff like that. So I just try to add on like 10 or 15 minutes of time to like update the Excel sheet because that works best for me. I don't have any apps that I use, and that's mostly just because I found the system works well, and I'm scared to like switch it up. Going from pen to paper to this to like something else would just be like too much for me, I feel like.
Well, and I think it's important to, everybody has their own technique and way that works best for them, but it's always nice to get everybody else's feedback, I guess.
Absolutely. I agree with that.
I have one more.
Okay.
When you're going through all the messages and you know what it takes, you're definitely doing what a lot of the coaches that I watch do, because you're just like messaging 10 people a day, which I'll admit I don't even do that. Maybe sometimes I know I need to. What helps you face that fear of being too salesy or too pushy or, putting all of that on your plate when it could be overwhelming? What motivates you to do that?
To actually follow through and do it, I honestly think a lot of the coach calls and like coach trainings and stuff from some of those like people out there that we all know their names, like just like listening to them and be like, like, if you want to grow, you have to face your fear. It's like something hard that we have to do, but if you do it and you do it the best you can in a genuine and like like salesy sort of a way, like you just have to do it to grow. Like if you don't do it, you never know if somebody's going to say yes or no. And there's going to be a lot more people that will say no, but we just like have to be like, okay, and just try to breathe it off. Like I say, it's always that easy, especially when you've like invested time into like really talking to somebody or it's somebody that you were like really hopeful because you see it would be perfect or whatever. But I think honestly, just listening to like that version of personal development and like the coach calls and trainings and stuff, it motivates me to, I keep that. I'm sure I've heard it a million times. Like you said, Joy, like you hear something so many times, but like the more you listen to it, the more you're like, no, these top people are saying, I have to do this. Like this is what the top people are doing. So you have to just go.
Yeah.
Just make it a non-negotiable. And if there's a day where like, because I don't know, everybody has days where they're just not feeling it, or like every message I put together doesn't feel genuine. It's like, there are days where I just have to skip it. And then like the inviting, and then I try to make up for it. And so, cause I know there's days like that where it just doesn't feel right.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Nice. For sure.
Yeah.
Cool. I think you've covered a lot, so thank you so much. We really appreciate you breaking it down, and I think it's something that Maggie and I've always talked about this is just another example of something I haven't done it as much, if I've ever done it, like having leaders on the call. And so I know that helps you get clear on your processes. Like if you don't ever ask yourself, if no one ever asks you, then how do you even know what you do? Like I just forced Maggie to think about a whole bunch of things she probably doesn't necessarily sit down and think about, but she does it, right? So now that she's got this recording, she can share it with her team. But I want to be doing that with you guys because I want you to feel like you have stuff to share, because you do. And I want in on it, and I want to hear about it selfishly and for the team and for you to grow. So I know it's been, what time is it? Don't want to take up too much of your night. And I know if you're new, it can be kind of high level, but eventually it'll make sense. And what a lot of these coaches will talk about is that they kind of jump in and you don't know what you're hearing or listening to, but it all just kind of sinks in. And the more you come on these calls, the more it starts to just manifest. So appreciate it, Maggie. I don't know if you have any final words or anything like that, but we loved having you on the call. And selfishly, I want her leadership on every call, but that's just me being lazy. But yeah.
I told you I'm committed to Sundays or Mondays.
Okay, good.
It probably will be more like Mondays because I'm not very good on Sundays. So
yeah, well, that's what I was feeling. I think, and we've talked about this before. Just if you hear any iterations, if it feels icky or if you feel too tired, it's either taking stuff off your plate or just listening to your gut and doing things when you're excited. And personal development helps you be excited every day, but there's going to be days where if you're just not feeling it, then you've got to figure out a way to love it and get excited and work on that. So Monday nights, be looking out for leader calls and things like that, because I'm sure you get sick of hearing my voice all the time. But anyway, really appreciate it, Maggie. Awesome notes. I'm going to post the recording. It probably will be tomorrow for you to share with your teams and for all of you guys too. But that's all I have, if you guys are good with that. Oh, wait, picture. Hold on. I put it on Snapchat already, like kind of creepy, like I was filming you. All right, everybody smile. Oh, wait. Let me do it. Hold on. Like 1, 2, 3. Okay, I got it. Good one. Yay. All right, thanks, guys. Appreciate it. Hope you have a good rest of your week and night, and keep connecting on the team page, and we'll talk soon.
Okay, thank you.
Bye.
Bye.